The new CAF 4.0 states that organisations must perform a detailed threat analysis and understand how this applies to network and information systems supporting your essential functions in the context of your sector, but also wider national infrastructure. The CAF also requires that organisations have a detailed understanding of threat, which includes the methods and techniques available to capable and well-resourced threat actors and how they could be used systematically against network and information systems supporting your essential functions. So in today's demo, we are going to be using the Threat Analytics tab in the Microsoft Defender portal. So to access the Threat Analytics tab, you need to go to under the Threat Intelligence blade here. And we just click under that here, it will come to Threat Analytics. So we're just going to click on that there. So Threat Analytics uses your asset data from products such as Defender for Endpoint 365 and Defender for Office 365 to correlate that data with Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence data to provide threat intelligence focused and prioritized insights based on your actual inventory of assets. Microsoft Defender Threat Intelligence takes loads and loads of data daily. Over 65 trillion signals are analysed in a day, and that is then converted into actionable insights. So as you can see here in the Threat Analytics page, we have a comprehensive view of different activities, actors, core threats, techniques, tools and vulnerabilities that could be a threat to you and your organisation. So to have a look into more of these, if we scroll down and just have a look at one of these and pull one up for example. So let's look on activity profile. Forest Blizzard are using Trokia Twist malware campaign in targeting NATO and member states. So as you can see here, we can see the analyst report, which is an executive summary. What is the campaign doing? Which vectors does it use? And who is it targeting? As you can see here, we can see which of the industries are targeted. In this case, it's government agencies and services and defence and industrial bases. This directly supports CAF A2.b's requirement to understand what network and information systems may be compromised here and how. So once we've had a look at the analyst report, if we scroll down as well, we can also see the MITRE attack techniques which are actually used. So these are the exact attacker behaviours. You know, it could be something like command line execution or credential dumping, but we can use this later to build out our threat hunts, which will be in a later video. So CAF 4.0 specifically moves away from indicators of compromise, things like IP addresses or file hashes. It focuses more on the tactics, techniques and procedures used. Threat Analytics actually automatically maps each campaign to a MITRE, ATT and CK, so we can actually anticipate what the attacker will try next and not just react when they strike. So now that we've seen how Microsoft Threat Analytics actually provides a global view of threat campaigns, let's have a look actually at how it correlates that intelligence to real incidents inside Defender XDR. So if we go to the related incidents tab here, Microsoft automatically links these intelligence reports to any live or historical alerts across your environment that match the same attacker behaviours or indicators. In this demo environment, we haven't actually got any of that, so I'm just going to show a screenshot on the screen quickly now. So what we're looking at here is a campaign tracking OAuth app abuse used in business email compromise and phishing. So each entry here represents a real detection from Defender XDR. For example, multi-stage incidents involving initial access, persistence and lateral movement is one of these. It could also be privileged execution through OAuth app abuse and also attempted financial manipulation. If you can see here, notice how each incident is automatically tagged with the severity, the category and the effective assets. This shows this isn't static intelligence, it's live context showing how the same techniques might already be affecting similar environments, directly linking back to the CAF requirement of A2.b. This cable here is really powerful for public sector authorities as it transforms global threat intelligence into local situational awareness. Instead of reading about an attack in the abstract, public sector authorities can instantly see whether similar behaviours have been observed in their own tenant, what devices or accounts are involved, and how Microsoft has already correlated those alerts into multi-stage incidents across email, identity and endpoints. Again, this links directly back to the CAF, specifically under A2.b. You understand which systems and threat actors might target and how their techniques apply to your essential functions. Exactly what is being done here. Here, in the Recommended Actions tab, Microsoft provides precise, evidence-based mitigation steps tied to that same OAuth threat campaign. For example, here you can see that we have two key actions. One is to create an OAuth app policy to notify about new OAuth app registrations. That's proactive monitoring of risky third-party permissions. The second is to set a maximum number of external recipients a user can email, reducing lateral data leakage potential. As you can see as well, each recommendation includes its secure score impact status and linked product area. In this case, Defender for Cloud Apps and Defender for Office. What's important here is the traceability. The same intelligence that identified the threat now directly informs the defensive control changes we should make. These can be captured as risk treatment actions in our CAF evidence pack or cyber improvement plan, with measurable outcomes like improved secure score and reduced exposure to credential harvest and BEC attacks. So, in a few clicks, threat intelligence takes us from global intelligence, what's happening in the wild. It applies that local context on it, which incidents and assets are relevant, and then it provides actionable defense. What specific mitigations can we put in place to strengthen our security posture? This end-to-end visibility is exactly what the CAF 4.0 expects when it says organisations must use their understanding of threat to inform risk management and adjust security measures accordingly. In the previous section, we looked at how Microsoft Threat Analytics helps us understand active threat campaigns and the techniques adversaries are using. For example, in that example, we used OAuth app abuse and credential theft using business email compromise attacks. But the CAF 4.0 doesn't stop at just understanding it. It expects organisations to test how those threats would play out in their own environment and measure how users, controls and monitoring would respond. This is where Defender for Office 365 Plan 2's attack simulation training comes in. It allows us to safely emulate real-world techniques like phishing, credential harvesting and malware delivery and gather data to strengthen both our people and our processes. As you can see here, I'm in the Microsoft Defender portal. To access the attack simulation, we want to head under to the emails and collaborations section, and then we want to click on attack simulation and training. From this dashboard here, you can see that we have any historical simulations, completion rates, and any other ongoing campaigns. This helps us demonstrate to CAF assessors that we are continuously evaluating our exposure to human factor threats and not just reliant on reactive alerts. So let's walk through the process of simulating a credential harvest attack, one of the most common techniques we see in the UK public sector. So to do this, to launch a simulation, we go to launch a simulation. Very simple. Here we're just going to choose our technique. As I said, we're going to be doing a credential harvest, but that doesn't stop you there. There's loads and loads of different techniques you can use. You can maybe go for a malware attachment, linking attachment. You can also have a look at the details, so it'll give you everything that is going to be included in that phishing techniques. As you can see here, we have social engineering with some of the steps as well and how that goes out. So you can review those and choose which one is more suitable for your organisation. Again, I'm just going to click Credential Harvest and hit Next. And here we just name our simulation. So I'm going to call this CAF 4.0 Live Demo Simulation. Brilliant. And if you'd like to, you can also enter a description as well. So let's just hit Next. So as you can see here, we're now on the select payload and login page. So essentially the payload is just the link, the QR code or the attachment in the simulated phishing email message that is presented to users. As you can see here, we have loads and loads of different payloads that you can use. You can go for the global payloads or you can have ones in your tenant. Now, for example here, there's loads and loads of different ones. You can see here it has the predicted compromise rate, so how likely it is that people are likely to fall for this phishing attempt. So, for example, let's have a look at the Tesco bank account verification one. If we click on this here, we can actually have a look at what will the simulation look like. So here is the payload. This is the email that our people that we're trying to simulate on will receive. As you can see here, it gives you a bit of information. We can also have a look at the login page as well to have a look at what it will look like when users are prompted to enter that information in. You can actually change this as well if you'd like to. There's two different options here. We go to page 2 as well. You can see whichever one suits you more. Then again, you can see if you've ever launched any other simulations using this payload. So there's loads of different ones there. You can use a Tesco bank account verification or one that you think will be more relevant to your organisation. It depends on who you, I guess, are testing that simulation for. The Tesco bank account verification has a predicted compromise rate of 41%. This is quite a nice and suitable payload to use. So we're going to go ahead, select that and then go next. Next, we're going to go for the target users. So this is who do we want this simulation to target. So there's two options here. We can do include all users in my organization. So as you can see here, I'm going to then send all of the emails to these people. However, we might only want to include certain people in these simulations, and we don't actually want to kind of, I guess, send the simulation out to the whole department. So to do this, you can just press include only specific users and groups, just click add users. I'm going to send an email to myself, so I'm just going to search for users or groups. If we just search for Aaron Singh, as you can see there, add one user, and now that is going to be sent to me. So we can customize this to how you want. You can add certain groups, import, you can import a whole list of users if you'd like to test it on a large amount of people. This demo is going to focus on myself. You also have the option to exclude users as well, so you can have people that you might not want to receive this email for whatever reason. Another great feature here is the automated training assignment. If a user clicks on the phishing link, Defender can automatically enroll them in targeted awareness training. For example, it could be a short video or a quiz explaining on how to spot this kind of attack in the future. Again, linking back to CAF, this directly supports the principle of continuous improvement, using each test to reduce the future likelihood and improve resilience. As you can see, we can assign Microsoft training, or we can actually select the training courses and modules ourselves from Microsoft's catalogue. You can go through there and have a look at all of the wider range of content of Microsoft security training and choose the recommended training that is most relevant to your organisation. So there you can also choose no training, and you can also redirect to a custom URL, so you can actually put your own training course in there as well. I'm going to select for the Microsoft training experience, and I'm going to let them do it for me. So I'm going to let Microsoft assign those courses automatically for me. You can also set a due date as well, so for when that training is due by. So, you know, I'm going to be quite urgent and quick and proactive on this, so I'm going to set this to 7 days after the simulation ends. Next, you can select your phishing landing page. Essentially, this is just a landing page that provides the learning moment to the user after they have been phished. Again, we can use landing pages from our library, or we can actually use our own custom URL. Here, I'm just going to use some of the pre-built templates that we already have. So as you can see here, there's loads and loads of different ones. If I just click on the landing page template 1 to show you an example. So as you can see here, this is what users will get when they have been phished. So you've got that preview there, and this is what the details is going to have. And then it goes to the training that you could be assigned to. And you've just got some different details here as well. There's loads and loads of different ones. You might want to go for the landing page template 3. But yeah, you can go around, and whichever one suits your organization, you can use. For this one, we're going to go for Microsoft landing page template 1. And then just hit next. Set end user notification. Again, we can send end user notifications after the simulation. For this one, we're going to go for the Microsoft default recommended notification. We're going to set to as English. You can change your language as required, and then you can kind of choose, I guess, what kind of messages do you want? Do you want a default training reminder notification? Do you want a positive reinforcement notification? And this is what will be sent to users after the training. So we can set our delivery preferences. I would like to maybe choose the positive reinforcement notification. So I'm going to say deliver after simulation ends. And for Microsoft default training reminder notification, we're going to change this to weekly. So they will also get weekly reminders to complete their required training. I'll just go ahead and just got the final details, which is the launch details. You can choose when you want to schedule it, so you can schedule this simulation to be launched on the exact day. I want to launch this as soon as I'm done. We're going to set the simulation to end after 2 days and go from there. So we just click next. What we could do is I'll go ahead. Defender now sends a saved test email to our demo accounts before it begins tracking delivery, opens clicks and credential submissions. Test email has now been sent. We can review that. And now we can launch our review. As you can see now, we have actually launched our simulation, and now we can go over to the attack simulation training overview. So now, as you can see, I'm back on the attack simulation overview tab. But once we've actually launched our simulation, we can click into it and actually get some really rich telemetry. So if I click into my simulation, you can see I have access to this telemetry data here. Now, obviously in my demo, we've only sent it to one person. But as you can see here, if people were to click on these links, we'll be able to get that accessed and look at it straight away. So in this demo, you can see we can have a look at what users clicked the message link, which users supplied credentials, which users read the message, deleted it, forwarded it, and we can see which users have actually been compromised as well. These metrics are really powerful evidence for CAF assessment. They demonstrate a measured understanding of user susceptibility and show that we're not just guessing that risk, but we are managing that risk. You can see here with the users as well, we can, if we had more users, we could actually directly export this to a CSV or PDF to attach it to our CAF evidence pack. And for each simulation, we can obviously record the date, the type, the results, and any corrective actions taken place. Suppose our results show that privileged account or finance users click the link. We'd immediately, review whether those users have phishing resistant multi-factor authentication enabled. We could also perhaps tighten conditional access to reduce attack success likelihood. And we can also add a risk entry, a potential credential halving exposure mitigated via an MFA policy enforcement. This is what CAF means by applying threat understanding to inform risk management and decisions. So just to summarise, attack simulation training gives public sector authorities a safe, measurable, repeatable process to test and evidence their understanding of threat actor techniques, turning theory into practice. By regularly running simulations like this, you demonstrate to NCSC assessors that your understanding of threat is not static, it's active, validated and continuously improving. And because this tool integrates directly into Defender XDR, we can take what we've learnt here and use it to drive threat hunting, automation and risk reduction across the entire Microsoft E5 security stack. In this next short segment, I'll show how Microsoft Entra ID identity protection automatically detects and classifies risky sign-ins and risky users. This is key intelligence that directly supports the understanding threat principle in the CAF 4.0. So, on the ID protection dashboard, you have a snapshot of trends in your tenant, an overview of the types of attacks your tenant is facing, and also some recommendations on how to improve your security posture. Starting with our trends panel, you will see the number of attacks blocked, the number of users protected, the mean time to remediate user risk, and the number of high-risk users in your environment. Each of these panels gives you a link to further investigate their respective blades. As you use and enable ID protection in your tenant, you should see these trend lines improved as you protect more users and remediate risks faster. Moving on, our attack graphic shows the effectiveness of your sign-in risk policies by highlighting the methods attackers are using to compromise accounts in your environment and where your policies are disrupting their attempts. These categories are mapped to their corresponding MITRE attack techniques, and you can click on each of the links for more info. Sign-ins on the right, shown as blocked, were interrupted by one or more conditional access policies. Sign-ins as not remediated were not interrupted and require further action. For those, you should determine if you have a gap in your existing conditional access policy. So, the risky sign-in reports work in a very similar way to risky users, with just a few key differences. Just like the risky users report, I can filter and sort the list to focus on what I want to investigate. On this report though, I have a few extra filters I didn't have on the risky users report, like filtering based on real-time aggregate level, sign-in type, and others like location, device, browser, or whether conditional access was applied or not. After selecting the sign-in, I have a bunch of information I can comb through in an investigation. I can see detailed device information, what the user was trying to access, and what conditional access policies were applied to in the sign-in. In the Risk Info tab, I can also see why ID protection flagged the sign-ins as risky. Here I see all of the detections that were triggered on the sign-in and can expand each one to learn on more information. For a deeper view and to see how this risky sign-in is related to other types of risk in your environment, we link to Microsoft Defender. Just like for risky users, I can confirm sign-ins as safe or compromised to help fine-tune Microsoft machine learning for my users. This investigation process directly supports the CAF 4.0 objective, A2.b, understand the threat, by demonstrating how the organisation analyses attacker behaviour across sign-ins, devices and conditional access outcomes. Using Entra ID protection and Microsoft Defender correlation, public sector organisations can gain a clear view of how threat actors attempt to compromise accounts, which systems they target, and where defences succeed or fail, turning sign-in data into actionable intelligence that informs ongoing risk management decisions.